How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. I hope you all had a wonderful night, having a wonderful day. Let's jump right into it because there's always news, right? First of all, according to Reuters, they're still talking about the young man who was shot by police out in Michigan. But I'm looking at the headline, and let me show you what the headline says because I don't necessarily like I don't necessarily like the way the headline reads because it makes an assumption, and we have to let the process play out before we make an assumption. But for you who are listening, let me read this to you. Like I said, this is according to Reuters. Basically, it says black man shot in back of head by Michigan police. Independent autopsy says by Brendan O'Brien. Okay, Mr. O'Brien. It reads, a black man who was killed by a Grand Rapids, Michigan police officer during a traffic stop earlier this month, sparking protest in the city, was shot in the back of the head, a forensic pathologist who performed an independent autopsy said on Tuesday. During a news conference in Detroit, forensic pathologist Werner Spitz and attorneys for the family of Patrick Lyoya said the autopsy found the 26-year-old was shot once and that the police officer held his gun to the back of Lyoya's head. Wow. Quote, this, quote, that is now scientific evidence of this tragic killing where his family believes was an execution, unquote, civil rights attorney Ben Crump said during the news conference. Spitz said he found no signs of a struggle, such as scratches or bruises on Loyola's body, noting that the only injury was a bullet wound. Only injury was a bullet wound. He also said that he did not know the caliber of the bullet that was fired, but that it was a quote unquote powerful bullet that killed the man. The death of Loyola, the Congolese refugee, outraged members of his family and touched off protests in Grand Rapids by activists who say it represents the latest example of police violence against young black men. Loyola's family is demanding that authorities dismiss the officer who shot him from the force and file criminal charges against him. Yeah, that's usually the typical procedure there for the most part. Grand Rapids police were not immediately available to comment in response to the independent autopsy findings. Grand Rapids police officials have placed the officer who has not been named publicly on administrative leave and have asked the Michigan State Police to investigate the shooting. Wow. Kent County Chief Medical Examiner Stephen Cole said in a statement that he performed an autopsy on the day of the incident and prepared a death certificate with the cause and manner of death. He also said toxicology and tissue results were pending and may take 60 days to be completed, and that the full autopsy report will not be made public until the state police concludes its investigation. Quote, we have to investigate whether this case was a class driving while black case, unquote, Attorney Crump said, noting that the officer was traveling in the opposite direction of Loyola before the stop. Last week, police released videos of the incident taken from the dashboard of the officer's squad car, from his body-worn camera, and from a neighbor's surveillance camera. They show Loyola stepping out of the car on a rainy street, seemingly confused and asking, quote, what did I do, unquote, as the policeman repeatedly asks for the driver's license and orders him to get back inside the vehicle. Loyola appears to be complying, but then closes the driver's side door and attempts to walk away, resisting the officer's attempts to handcuff him. Following a short chase, the two men grapple on the lawn and at one point fighting over the officer's stun gun before Loyola is shot. The incident began after the officer stopped Loyola over suspicions involving his license plate. Wow. Well, let me tell you this. First of all, it shows why you should not just go by the headline, read the story further. There were so many wrongs with this one. Number one, um, and I'm actually talking to everyone in this situation, but more specifically, black men. Since the narrative is out right now that police are out to kill black men, here's the thing. First of all, we need to know we need to do our best and everything we can to ride or drive legally. That means your registration, your insurance, your driver's license, all of that is perfectly legitimate and legal. Number one, because if that something's not, and the police officer, I guess, read your license plate or runs your license plate or your registration, then of course he or she's going to stop you. So we must know that. I mean, we must know that we have to be on our p's and q's when it comes to that. And like I say, everyone, but I'm specifically talking to black men because, well, this is another case of a young black man being shot and killed by police. Now, another thing is, and I believe it has a lot to do with what we see on mainstream media. When a police officer pulls you over, keep your cool, stay calm. Don't start letting thoughts of what you saw on CNN or MSNBC or Fox or CBS or whatever start running through your head and get you all emotional. Like, take a deep breath, get out of your emotions, get out your feelings at that point. If at all possible, I would say, if you're riding, if at all possible, have your driver's license and your insurance ready. Like, me personally, I would drive with my driver's license or wallet, whatever, on the dashboard or somewhere where I can easily reach them. So when I pull over the car, I can hurry up and get him before the police officer even gets out of his or her car. I can get him and put him on the dash. So when they walk up to me, hey, can I see your, license registration or license proof of insurance? I would have my hands on the steering wheel in a calm manner and saying, yes, Mr. Officer, yes, Mrs. Officer, they're on the dashboard right here. Do you mind if I grab it? And of course, keep one hand on the steering wheel and use the other hand to grab your wallet or purse, whatever, with your driver's license in it. And of course, if you still have paper form uh, insurance, proof of insurance, then have that ready too. Now, most of us have all these forms of insurance now come, is in the form of an app. Like, most insurance providers have an app that you can download on the phone. So if you're doing that, you also may want to have your phone in plain view on the dash, or maybe high up on the on a like a phone holder, uh, and please communicate that to the officer, saying, "Hey, my proof of insurance is in my insurance provider's app on my phone. Please communicate this to the officer so they'll know exactly what you're doing. Don't just reach for something. Don't just make any sudden moves." Right now, even before we get to that, according to this article here, Mr. Loyola, first of all, definitely prayers to his family and friends and everyone. As the police officer pulls him over, he's getting out of the car. To me, that's a no-no. That's a no, you can't do that. Because an officer in that situation, he or she does not know what you're going to do, what you're planning to do. They don't know you. You could be an angel getting out of the car, or you could be a demon getting out of the car for all they know. So I would say never make that move, get out the car and start walking toward the officer. That is a no, you can't do that. Even if you're in the right, you cannot do that. So I hope, you know, everyone realizes that. Does it matter? Yeah, I'm talking to everyone, but like I said, specifically black men, control your emotions. And I'll repeat it again. Everything we've seen on mainstream media has us all in our emotions right now. We don't make great decisions when we're emotional. I know I don't. I have to take a deep breath and assess the situation, right? That's what I would advise people to do. And instead of, complaining about why so many young black men are getting killed, which I'm not saying that, all the complaints aren't valid. What I'm saying is we need to be teaching each other how to react and how to respond when an officer pulls us over. Because almost every case, not all, there were some that weren't this way, but I would say many cases, you see where some way, somehow, there's a point where there's the grappling or the scuffling, wrestling on the ground or up against the car or whatever. No need for that. I mean, if they're gonna put the cuffs on you, just let them put the cuffs on you. Get in the back of the car. You know what I mean? I also say this too. It should never, if possible, when you pull over, always pull over in a public place. You never want to be in a situation where it's just you and the one police officer on a lonely street or in a back alley somewhere or in an empty parking lot. And if the officer asks, you may want to say, hey, yes, I was just pulling over in a public place for both of our protections, for my protection and for yours. And not that you plan on doing physical harm on the police officer or anything. What I'm saying is for their protection. So no one will be able to say, hey, they did something wrong when they actually didn't, because there'll be witnesses. Will that always work? No, nothing always works. Nothing's perfect. But we have to find a way to eliminate emotions. That's just my opinion on that. Now, by him shooting, according to this article, by him allegedly shooting the young man in the back of the head, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to see how that happened. But if they're grappling on the ground or whatever, and they're both trying to, fight to get control of the stun gun, well, at that point, whoever gets control of the stun gun is going to win that fight, regardless if it's the officer or, the Mr. Layoya. At that point, whoever gets control of that stun gun is going to win that fight, more than likely. So if it's a situation where Mr. Layoya got control of the stun gun, and like I said, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of both. If I'm the officer at that point, do I just get up and just take off running at that point, or do I do what I have to do to defend myself? On the other hand, Mr. Layoya, and I really hope I'm pronouncing the young man's name properly, Layoya. Um, I could understand if you're, you know, thinking, okay, here's another police officer out to basically try to kill me. But you have to take a deep breath. And like I said earlier, assess the situation and see what's the best move. We can't let our emotions get the best of us. And I do believe that mainstream media and politicians, especially the black community, have been using our emotions against us. Going all the way back to, well, back for a while now, like for decades now, but it really didn't come out until, my opinion, until I would say until 2019 ish, where they really started making us use our emotions, even going to the to vote. I'm just saying. So we have to, yeah, if you find, I'm not saying don't express your opinion or voice your opinion when it comes to situations like this, but we also have to voice and express or provide a resolution. So that's how I feel on that. Please let me know if you're watching this on YouTube. Please let me know in the comments how you feel about it. Also, that's just one story. Now I find this in here a little bit odd or strange, or I don't know. According to, I'm looking at arstechnica.com. I'm looking at a story here where it shows, man, this is crazy. It says thousands report vomiting, diarrhea after eating Lucky Charms cereal. Wow. That's wow. I mean, maybe I'm glad I don't eat Lucky Charms anymore. I used to love Lucky Charms. But according to the article here, General Mills says it hasn't found evidence for illness as reports pile up. So this isn't just like this. From what I'm saying, from what I'm understanding, before I even read the article, it seems like there are many complaints, not just one or two. The article reads: the end of the rainbow may not have a pot of gold, but a pot of something entirely different. Thousands of people have reported stomach pains, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea after eating Lucky Charms, the quote unquote magically delicious sugar coated cereal fronted by a cartoon leprechaun that feebly tries to prevent hungry children from getting his colorful, charm shaped marshmallows. The illnesses have left many wondering if the latest lineup of charms includes hearts, stars, horseshoes, clovers, and tasty infectious bacteria. Wow. Man, this is something here. The website iwaspoisoned.com, which collects consumer reports of foodborne illnesses, has received more than 3,000 complaints about the cereal from all over the U.S., most of which are from the past few weeks. Lucky Charms has now received more illness reports than any other individual product in the site's 10-year history, according to Patrick Quaid, founder of the site, who spoke with the Wall Street Journal. Man, now it has to be something, right? Because Lucky Charms or General Mills, which makes Lucky Charms, they said they haven't found any reports or any evidence. They said they haven't found any evidence that the cereal is causing illnesses. But you have 3,000 or at least 3,000 people complaining about it. So there has to be something there, right? I mean, maybe it was a bad batch. I don't know. I mean, obviously, that happens a lot with food and snacks, whatever, and even in medication. You have bad batches. You just never know when you're going to be part of that bad batch. But me personally, I would definitely make sure that my kids don't eat it. I would definitely make sure that they stay away from it. If you have any in your home, do away with it. Or take it back to the store, see if they'll refund you. I don't know how they would do that or what they could do about that, but just make sure you don't eat it. But it's just something else that's on top of everything else. It's crazy. Not only do you have the big C, and they want you to get the big V, and then you have what's going on in with Russia, Ukraine, and then you have the mask mandate rulings. Now you have this, so that's it's crazy. So much stuff, so much stuff. And look at this, the same website, arstechnical.com. Their other Headline says people are still drinking bleach and vomiting and pooping their guts out. The quote unquote church of bleach is still strong despite years of warnings. I didn't know this was a big issue. Like the only time I heard of people maybe ingesting maybe some type of bleach was with the hydroxychloroquine, which well let's just read this. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration this week released an important health warning to everyone that everyone should heed. Drinking bleach is dangerous, potentially life-threatening, and you should not do it. The warning may seem unnecessary, but guzzling bleach is an unfortunately persistent problem. Unscrupulous sellers have sold quote unquote miracle bleach elixirs for decades, claiming that they can cure anything from cancer to HIV/AIDS, hepatitis, flu, hair loss, and more. Some have promoted it to parents as a way to cure autism in children, prompting many allegations of child abuse. Let's stop there. I mean, we can really probably see what they're trying to indicate here, what are the story they're trying to get across without actually saying it. I do believe this goes back to the hydroxychloroquine, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I think there's an element of bleach in it, supposedly, or chlorine, whatever, in it. And without actually saying it, that's what they're basically telling people to do is not take or buy the hydroxychloroquine to only get maybe the big V or maybe um, get whatever they prescribe, the big C patients in the hospital. But they're definitely coming after those or aiming this toward people who believe in hydroxychloroquine, but they don't want to just come out and say, "Hey, do not take it," because they know they'll get a lot of pushback. It's like they're trying to slide it in, be very kind about it. They don't want to say it directly. That's what I get out of that. I don't know what you all get, but to me, that's where. And the weird part about it is there's also another story on this website, arstechnical.com, that basically talks about the so-called horse medicine, that people were taking, and it also tells people not to take that either. So I don't think it's a coincidence that they're both in the same near the same article, I guess you can say. I don't think that's a coincidence at all. Let's see if I could actually find it. Let's see. Somewhere on here. Somewhere near the Lucky Charms. Okay, there's the Lucky Charms article. And let me scroll down, see what else is down here. Okay, yeah, see, more people are poisoning themselves with horse deworming drug to thwart the big C, right? Ivermectin. No coincidence that this is in the same on the same page on the same day as the quote unquote bleach drinking people. So they know what they're doing. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Definitely appreciate everything you guys doing to support the channel. Please subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Please download the podcast on all podcast platforms and be blessed. And always remember to do your own research. Don't let anyone talk you into doing anything. If it doesn't seem right, it's probably not right, regardless of who's saying it.